Let's take a look at Saturday in the NBA. We've got 2 days left this week. We've got to make the right move. So let's talk about it. Michael Bolton.
Thanks, Josh. It's Michael Bolton here, and it's time for another episode of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it, indeed.
You are Locked On Fantasy Basketball, your daily fantasy basketball podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast, brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd, and I was the inspiration for Stupid Sexy Flanders. I'm also the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com, and you can find me on Twitter as always at redrock_bball, on TikTok at redrock_bball, and on Instagram at Locked On Fantasy Basketball. Thank you for making Locked On Fantasy Basketball your first listen every day. We are free and we are available on all platforms. Double Bang Squad, good to see you guys. Thanks for the thumbs up and thanks for the subscribe. You can also ring that bell and you can leave your comments down below over here on YouTube. You can listen to the audio as well when you're in the car and you don't have the access to seeing this hirsute face. Let's talk Saturday in the NBA because we have got, how many games have we got? We've got 6 on Friday. We've got 9 on Saturday. So a relatively busy day there for us to talk about. And like I said, 2 days left in week 20. Is it the second round of your playoffs? It is for me. Could be the first week. It could be heading into playoffs next week. You could be a poor, unfortunate soul who goes an extra week after that. We're getting to the end. 4 weeks left in the regular season plus 2 days. So let's talk about what we're going to talk about. The games that are on. The first one is an early one. It is Cleveland and Houston. This is let me get my time zone straight, 5 p.m. Eastern start between Cleveland and Houston. So what's that, 4 Central? Why, I don't know. But yeah, we've got a 4 Central Houston start with the Cavs. The Cavs have one game left this week. I don't know why. Why do I have Houston saying Friday there? That's not correct because it doesn't matter if they play Friday. I think that's wrong on Houston. L from me. No, it's only marginally wrong for Houston. They don't play Friday, but they do play Saturday. And then they go Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday next week. So the Cavs have got a decently good schedule with the 4 games next week. The Rockets only have 3 next week. So we're talking about looking at stuff over the next 9 days here with scheduling. Evan Mobley's going to be out. Dean Wade looks like he'll return for the Cavs. Max Strus, we don't know. And the long national nightmare for all nightclub thoughts, Tristan Thompson's suspension is over. So he's got more time to play basketball now. I can't believe I said the word thought out loud. That just sounds so stupid coming out of a man like me, an old man like me's mouth. It just sounds stupid. But anyway, Tristan Thompson can be back. Whether he plays or not, I'm not sure, but his suspension is over. Cameron Whitmore remains out, and of course the delicate dancer Alperen Sengun is not there. For the Cavs, what do? Do they go back to Dean Wade, or do they keep George Niang in the starting lineup? Because Niang has been playing really well, and when they signed Niang in the offseason, I thought there was the option there if they wanted to go small and they wanted to go shooting, that Niang would be that guy over Wade, because Wade struggled last season. So we'll see what they do there, because that is interesting, because Wade's been borderline, or at least streamable, with his three-point shooting. For the Rockets, Jollibee Jalen Green has been putting up some big numbers. Usage is up. We knew something would happen with Sengun out. We've seen better rebounding, better assists, better scoring. He's still got efficiency problems, but let's see how the minutes look. He doesn't have that specter, I guess, of Whitmore or a men coming for him from the bench, so a little bit more freedom, I guess. And this is a really key part to see if Green can take advantage of it. Guys getting boosted. Karis LeVert still is getting somewhat of a boost, even though Mitchell is back and Strus might be back. Just the absence of Mobley does help LeVert there. He is obviously always a risky category play, but for points leagues, we've got that value there. And then for the Rockets, we know that Alperen Thompson and Jock Landale are both being boosted. Alperen is a clear must-roster player. It is worth remembering, though, he only played 28 minutes last game against the Wizards and shot 82%. So I'm still not convinced they're going to just pump 32 into him every night. I think we might be in one of those weirder scenarios, and we always thought that the Rockets would feel more comfortable going smaller against the Wizards because Kyle Kuzma was at center. Now you go up against Jarrett Allen, a little different. So we'll see how much Smith at center works, how much they go to Landale. Do they ever uncork Boban? No. But that's going to be something to watch. So Many's going to be boosted, but don't be surprised if it's a little bit lower than what we saw in the other games. It might not be, but I don't think we should rule that possibility out. The second game is the Portland Trailblazers. They are taking on the New Orleans Pelicans. Obviously, they both play on Saturday, and both of them play 4 games next week. The Blazers go Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. The Pelicans go Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Sunday. Shaden Sharp and Malcolm Brogdon are out. We don't have updates on the others, though. Anthony Simons missed the last game. I think Simons will play. Jeremy Grant's missed 3 out of the last 4 because, it's March. I would say Grant is probably a true questionable. If I had to say, he's a questionable leaning doubtful and Simons is a questionable leaning probable. Raul Rupert has been ruled active the last couple of games but not available to play, so I don't know why they keep doing that, but it doesn't really matter much. Jabari Walker has had, he would have had opportunities to play without Grant, but he's also injured, so he's questionable, while Dyson Daniels remains sidelined for the Pelicans. So a lot can change there for the Blazers. If Simons and Grant are available, well then Banton's not going to have that opportunity. Thybulle's minutes are going to be dropped. Thybulle can play 30 or 20, it's all over the shop. Chris Murray, Tamani Kamara. Do we get 40 minutes of DeAndre Ayton again? I don't know. I do want to watch Scoot, though. He started last game for Simon, so I would expect, unless Chauncey's going to Chauncey us, I would expect that Scoot starts in this one, irrespective of Simon's status, and it's Banton that moves to the bench. I never want to see 20 shots of Delano Banton and 41 minutes. But we'll see what they do there. Scoot is an issue for category leagues, absolutely. The efficiency is a problem. I do think he's going to have value. It's just going to depend on whether you can deal with that. In points leagues, I've got no problem with that with him, with his production. The category league stuff is bad. But there's still enough glimmers there that I'm interested. The Pelicans are coming in on a back-to-back. They haven't been sitting guys on back-to-backs, but they could. Very easy to sit a Zion or a Trey Murphy in this one, or an Ingram even, against the Blazers who don't want to win. Delano Banton has been getting boosts, and there are plenty of opportunities for him to get boosts here, especially if Simons or Grant are out. So we watch that. He is wildly inefficient, and that can be a problem, clearly. And then the next one is Larry Nance, because they just play Jonas Valanciunas 17 minutes. Nance starts the second half. Now, some days that means Nance plays 28. Some days it means he plays 22. We're not interested in Nance as a 12-team league must roster, but as a steals guy with some field goal percentage for deeper leagues, his presence and his value there is boosted. And it is really dropping down Valanciunas. Now, if you were thinking of holding on to Valanciunas with the 4-game week, that's the time. Same with McCollum, right? Because you get a little bit of volume in there. But their production has been pretty rough the last couple of games. Or the last couple of weeks, actually. The Hornets, they're taking on the Philadelphia 76ers. Charlotte are playing Friday, and they play Saturday. And then they've got the dreaded 2-game week, Tuesday and Saturday next week. Philadelphia plays on Saturday, then they go Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. That's what you call the prime schedule. The on-off, on-off, on-off. LaMelo Ball, I'm just going to go ahead and suggest that he's out. Yeah, I don't know why this putrid franchise will not give any sort of update or any sort of information regarding LaMelo Ball. He's doing some practice. The man hasn't played since January for an injury that you haven't told us anything about. What is happening here? And I actually don't prescribe to the theory that he's fully healthy and they're just tanking this whole thing. I don't know. Maybe that is the case. That is pretty egregious. And you would imagine, even though I'm sure the league doesn't care because it's Charlotte, but you would imagine the league be going, hey, LaMelo Ball, the kids love this guy, right? Why isn't he playing? I would imagine Puma, as much as you don't want shoe companies to have influence, I imagine Puma is going, hey, can we get this guy on the court? We got shoes to sell, MBO3s. Well, what are we doing? He's never playing. Is he actually hurt? So there's a couple of factors there that make me think something's actually happening here, and I don't know what it is. But he is not going to play. Cool. Cody Martin's out. Seth Curry will be out. Bryce McGowan's is out on Friday. We'll see whether he is out on Saturday. And they went 8 men in the rotation last time out, and that meant that Poku got 25 minutes. We'll see whether that happens again. Toby Harris did hurt his ankle. Looked pretty significant in the game on Thursday. He came back and played, but in surprise to nobody, he is listed questionable again. Embiid is out, and we got a bit of an update on DeAnthony Melton and his back problem as he tries to... Oh, here we go. Jeremy Grant ruled doubtful again. Whoa, what a shock. So we just got the update. So Brogdon's doubtful. Brogdon's out. Grant is doubtful. Simons is probable. So my lean of Simons more likely to play, Grant less likely to play, worked out. W. Thybulle's actually popped up as questionable now as well. And Jabari Walker's doubtful. So that's sick. Yeah, what was I going to say? We've got an update on DeAnthony Melton. It's just going to it's just going to take time for him to come back, and I honestly have no when this is going to be happening, but it feels like it's weeks, not days. for D'Anthony Melton to return. Embiid is not coming back till the very latest, I would say, or very earliest, the last week of the regular season. And yeah, the Harris question. If Harris is out, you're going to get more KJ Martin. You might get a little Ricky Council, but you get more shot attempts for Kelly Oubre. And you can debate whether that's a good thing or not. So what are we watching? Hornets are on a back-to-back. We know that. For the Sixers, Buddy Hield has been bad. After those first 3 games where he was good, he has been bad, and he has not been a 12-team league must-roster player. He, I think, has been droppable for a few weeks, but we have got a strong schedule. We've got 5 games in 9 nights coming up for the Sixers, a 4-game week next week, in which is a low-volume week in totality. So that gives somewhat of a hold value there, if that's what you need. We keep getting the boost from Vasilij Micic. Vasilij is putting up great assist numbers, and you cannot leave him on the wire at this point. The problem is going to be that when we head to a 2-game week next week, that it's not going to be long-term value. But what you do is you hold him, you play him on Saturday, the day's off Sunday, he plays on Tuesday, and then you move on. Because then after Tuesday, there's 1 game in 5 nights to end the week, and that's where the problem lies. But Saturday through Tuesday, I know there's 2 days off in the middle, I think you can hold through that. Paul Reed's the other guy that continues to get boosted. I know they signed Kai Jones, so if those of you who are into revenge games, maybe Kai Jones gets minutes here as a third-string center, even though Bumba and Reed are going to take all those minutes. We'll see. It's not going to happen, but I guess we will see. Won't we? Today's episode is brought to you by eBay Motors. Our partners over at eBay Motors have teamed up with me to bring you some of the best fantasy picks all season long. When you're out there foraging through the waiver wire, trying to find that little gem to jump into your squad to give you that boost through the fantasy playoffs, well, we want those guys that are guaranteed to fit on your roster. So, who is on the radar for us? Well, who is on the radar? Well, let's go to Houston. Jock Landale, coming off the bench, but getting 25 to 26 minutes. It's hard to find valuable players at this point of the season who have got these significant boosts who still fly under the radar, and Landale is doing that. I'm not saying he's going to wow us, because he won't, but just getting consistent production from a guy who's going to get 25 minutes, which covers a vast percentage of leagues. Landale is going to be there available for you while Sengun is out. And unless something changes and they go back to Jeff Green, I feel fairly confident of a base level production here from Jock for the rest of the season. And again, it's about finding the perfect fit in your team. If you need a big man, you look to a big man. And Landale might be one of those big men that is available. And eBay Motors knows that a championship team is about each player being a perfect fit. And that is the same with your vehicle. With over 122 million parts available for your ride or die, your number 1 ride or die. Your number 2, forget it, don't worry about it. eBay only deals with number 1 because they are number 1. You can make sure that your ride stays running smoothly. Brake kits, LED headlights, roof racks, bumpers, whatever it is your baby needs, eBay Motors has it. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, it is guaranteed to fit your ride the first time, every time, or your money back. Plus, at these prices, you're burning rubber and not cash. So keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. eBay Guaranteed Fit, only available to US customers, eligible items only, and exclusions apply. Some of my best work is in the eBay Motors ads, and I was able to slide a discussion on Grady Dick in there because I sent it out to all of the hosts across the network, and some of them didn't read it. So they said, oh yeah, let's talk about Grady Dick as the pickup of the week. And what I'd written there is, and they just read it verbatim, so I Ron Burgundy them. It was like, the Raptors are committed to giving us 30 minutes of Dick each night. And you would have seen that on a few of those shows, and I got him. I got him. It was good. But it's factual. They are giving us 30 minutes of Grady throughout that time frame. And that was funny. Ha 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 ha. All right, let's go to the next one. Brooklyn, Indiana. The Nets go Saturday, Sunday, one of only 2 teams with the weekend back-to-back, and then they play 3 games next week, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. Well, the Pacers play on Saturday, and then they have 4 next week, the prime schedule, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. Doug McDermott did practice, but he has since been ruled out, so he's out again. That trade, where they traded Buddy Hield and got Doug McDermott back, what an L. I'm not saying Buddy's great, and he was obviously discontent, but that is a massive L trade from this team. It has made them significantly worse. Not even to mention that Hield's better than McDermott. McDermott just doesn't play like he's hurt. He just hurt his calf straight away. Cam Johnson was great in the first game back for Brooklyn. I'm a little skeptical of that level continuing. I think he shot 60% on 9 attempts or 7 attempts. Where he fits in terms of minutes and role is going to determine a lot. Their schedule's fine. 5 games in 8 days. That's pretty good. So there is value in streaming him in for that. But when they are fully healthy, his upside gets a little capped. Well, for the Pacers, I haven't really focused on Pascal Siakam much at all in Indiana. I feel like he's just been Pascal Siakaming. But is that a good or a bad thing? He was one of those guys that I did target, what's the reverse of target? Like, untarget, not target. I had him as a bust. I thought he was going way too high in drafts at the beginning of this season, and I'd say that's worked out. So where does he sit now as we move forward? Like, what sort of player is Siakam? How do we value him? I really don't know. Like, he's sort of been very under the radar in Indiana. Guys getting boosted. Dennis Schroeder keeps getting boosted. Ben Simmons had his off-season, his regularly scheduled off-season back surgery, which, it's bad. Multiple back surgeries, it's not easy to come back from, and you really do worry about where that goes from here. But Schroeder continues to get that boost. Well, TJ McConnell, even in these 20 minutes a night, they are giving him a lot of the ball with Mathurin out for the season. And he does provide value at the moment, TJ. Now, it's going to be dependent on how you look at it and what your team needs. But with a every other day schedule, Saturday, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday, there's some value in that. Don't know why I'm going so slow through this show today. But we've got Washington and Chicago as the next team to look at. The Wizards play that weekend back-to-back, and then 3 games next week, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. The Bulls play on Saturday, and then Monday, Thursday, Saturday is their schedule. That's not a great one. Denny Avdia hurt his knee in the last game. He returned to the bench but never entered the game, and he is now officially questionable. But we got Tyus Jones popping up with a back issue being doubtful. That's not very good because obviously he's a point guard, but they don't have other point guards. No Delon Wright. Johnny Davis is Johnny Davis. Ryan Rollins, shoplifting legend. He's not allowed back in because his face is up. Do not let this man in the store at the front of the arena. Is Jordan Poole back? Is he going to start as a point guard? And if he does start at point guard, will we actually see him in his best position? They have to make that call, don't they? The other call that we need to make is Rashawn Holmes because he's questionable again. I would hold off on that, but obviously if he does play, there's the weekend back-to-back, meaning that with a toe issue, I'm not sure he plays both. Bagley will be out. Vukcevic is still out. Tristan might be here, but I think it's not going to be until April that we're seeing any Vukcevic. And I did hear that maybe it was only the last week of the season that he'd come across and play. So, yeah, we're not adding him. Kobe White missed the last game for the Bulls. The expectation from Woj was that he could return on Saturday. So we'll label him questionable for now, while Julian Phillips is out for a few weeks, which is a shame because there was an opportunity for some minutes for Phillips. We want to see Poole like that. I don't, but I also do because he's going to have to start at point guard, I'm pretty sure. This also solidifies Corey Kispert's role in the starting lineup. Does it? No, yeah, I guess it does. No, it doesn't actually, because if Holmes returns, then we just get Poole replacing old mate Jones. So, yeah, that'll be interesting to see. DeRozan, he's on a real hot streak at the moment. Seems to be the red-hot favourite for Clutch Player of the Year. Without Levine on this team, he's doing a lot. This little run here from DeRozan, I reckon, might end up with him being overdrafted next season. We'll find out. But there are it's always important to pass context through production. So when you look at what he did, he carried me in my fantasy championships was because he's playing 40 minutes a night, and a lot of guys were out, and we don't even know what team he's going to be on next season. So there's some stuff to worry about a bit there, I guess. Corey Kispert's getting some boosts. He's a very mid player. He's a points and 3 streamer, but you might need those. And Ayo Dosunmu continues to get the boost with everybody out. Yes, he sucked last game, but don't let that dissuade you from rostering him. The next game, the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Memphis Grizzlies. I don't know what to tell you about the Memphis Grizzlies. I just don't, because there's going to be a million things that change every single game. We'll talk Thunder first. They play on Saturday, and then they go Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. So that's a big gap. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday with no games on. So don't even think about holding on to a Lou Dort. You have to hold Shea, obviously. Jalen Williams, yes. Chet, yes. Everyone else, Giddey, probably not. The Grizzlies play Saturday, and then Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So their week ends on Friday. Jaren Jackson, Desmond Bane, Vince Williams, Santi Aldama, Lamar Stevens. I don't know whether they're going to play. Given the pattern of what they've been doing with Jaren, this is the perfect opportunity for Jaren Jackson to play because it's against a good team. Is this actually Desmond Bane going to return? Look, I can't even tell you what to do here because Jaren, Bane, Williams, Aldama, even Stevens, giggity. That's not even a giggity. That's just an even Stevens joke. They could all come in and 34 minutes, 28 minutes, 33 minutes, 29 minutes. Stevens has been playing 20 minutes. It's all a mess. We just don't know. Just avoid all of it. Oh, you cannot avoid Jaren because you've got him. And if Vince was dropped and he plays, you add him back in. You can try Bane out, but I think it's going to be rough. And there's going to be nonsense that ensues every game. The Bronco, I saw a tweet from Jackson Frank, who's a really smart basketball guy. He's been on this show before. And he's like, I think Jalen Williams might be a top 20 player in the league. And I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ, okay. I think that might be going a little bit far, but he is getting a ton of buzz at the moment. He's putting up really big numbers. Is Jalen Williams the second best player on the Thunder? I don't know. I don't know where he fits. I don't know what his like overall upside long term is either. I don't really know. He's one of those guys that he's shooting unbelievably, and you go, oh, just wait. Like, is it ever going to stop? Is he actually just a 45% 3-point shooter? Feels unlikely, but he keeps doing it. So, like, yeah, I don't know. I'm still confounded about what the overall role is long term for him. Scott Pippen started the last game, and if he plays 28 minutes as a starter for the Grizzlies, that's a 12-team guy, but I don't know. He's got enough two-way days left to play every game, but Bane, Kennard, Conchar, Goodwin, all these blokes are still going to be around to cut into it. Josh Giddey keeps getting this boost. He's turned his per-minute production way up, and that's great. Well, Jake LaRavia is getting boost as well, but he also might get no boost, because if Jaren, Bane, Vince, Santi, and Lamar Stevens all play, LaRavia might play 5 minutes. He also could play 28. He also could shoot 12% like he did in the last one. Impossible to trust any of those blokes at this point. Today's episode is also brought to you by Stitch Fix. When you put on something sizzling, you look in the mirror and you go, bloody hell, I look good. And that is the confidence boost that we love to get. That outfit that makes you look good, that makes you look smashing, is what you can get with Stitch Fix. Because they've got those professional stylists over there. I'm sure you're not a professional stylist. Contrary to what you might think, I'm not a professional stylist either. But Stitch Fix has them. You send them your styes? No, that's a combination of style and size, which there are actually two separate things. You tell them your preferences for both of those things. You tell them your budget preference as well. And they put together looks. Looks. You put them in a box. Well, they put them in a box for you, which is not a subscription. They just send it when you ask for it. 5 different items. And you look at them. You open it up. It's like a halo's in there. Oh, and you go, wow, this is amazing. Look at the clothes that they've sent me. And if for some reason you've suffered like a traumatic brain injury and look at it and go, well, this is actually just not fashionable or doesn't suit me, well, you can actually send it back for free. Returns, exchanges, and shipping are always free with Stitch Fix. It's style that makes you feel as good as you look. So get started today at stitchfix.com/locked-on. That is stitchfix.com/locked-on. stitchfix.com/locked-on. I think I might go across to Stitch Fix and tell them that I'm going to start dressing gothcore. Come on this show with full piercings, running black. What's that bloke's name? Jared Way. That's my new look. Stitch Fix, sort me out. All right, slowest show in the world. The Warriors, the Lakers, Golden State plays a pretty solid schedule. 4 games next week: Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. The prime schedule. The Lakers have had just a dreadful run, and which we knew, but it's a bad run. Saturday, and then they go Monday, and then Friday, Sunday. So another 3 days off in the middle there. So the Saturday, Monday is good, but geez, it's been rough. Steph is going to return. Draymond Green missed the last game with a back issue, label him questionable. Cam Reddish is doubtful. I'm just going to go ahead and say that they're going to list LeBron as questionable and Anthony Davis as probable. And Wood, Vanderbilt, and Vincent are going to be out. So for the Warriors, Trace Jackson Davis. When Steph returns, do they start Jackson Davis? Probably not, yeah. Do they go back to the Clay, Wiggins, Draymond combination, Steph and Kuminga? But Trace is still probably getting 25 would be my guess, and that makes him valuable enough for 12s. For the Lakers, Austin Reeves had a really rough start, but I would say recently he's been exceeding our expectations, so let's see if that continues. Brandon Podziemski has been getting boosted, but we might be in a situation here again where the Warriors are full strength. And he was great last time out. I still don't think that he has to be a must-roster guy in categories. A lot of deficiencies with free throws. There's going to be a split like who holds the ball. Curry, Wiggins, Kuminga, Clay, Paul. Is there enough to go around? I think probably not. But he had been getting a boost. And Rui Hachimura continues to get a boost. If you're looking for someone who might drop 80 points on 80%, or 5 points on 12% with no other supporting stats, Rui's your guy. It's the highs and the lows, and that's hard to rely upon, but it is there, and it does happen. Minnesota taking on the Utah Jazz. The Wolves play on Saturday, and they go Monday, Tuesday, Friday, Sunday. So their 2-game week actually turns into a really strong schedule with that Monday, Tuesday back-to-back. So it's been rough to have that 2-game week, but now they have a 3-game in 4 night coming up. The Jazz had the bad schedule a week and a half ago, and now we're talking good. Saturday for Utah, but then Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday, plus they also play Friday. The problem with the Jazz is we don't know who's going to play. Rudy Gobert is questionable for the Wolves as well. So is Kyle Anderson on there with a shoulder issue. Monte Morris is questionable with a hamstring. Towns is out, of course. He won't play the regular season. But for the Jazz, what do we do? Lauri Markkanen and Jordan Clarkson are out on Friday. I don't think that they're going to play on Saturday. Like, if Clarkson's legitimately got a groin strain, he will not play on Saturday. But I don't know if it's legitimate. Do they just keep sitting Markkanen? I don't know. So I'm listing them both as doubtful. Chris Dunn is sitting on Friday for rest. Rest makes me think that he will play on Saturday, but how shameless will they be? And then Taylor Hendricks could return from his toe problem. Now, do they sit him Thursday, play him Friday? Is he available to play back-to-backs immediately with a toe problem? If he is ready to go, like, this schedule's unbelievably good, and he was putting up 12-team numbers just before he got hurt. So we've got to watch that really closely. For the Wolves, Naz Reid. Now, if Anderson or Gobert are out, it's full steam ahead for Reid. But we've seen some of the limitations in his game. He's had big ones, giggity, but he's also had bad ones with Towns out. I think he needs someone else out to really give us consistent big numbers. So let's see what happens there. In terms of guys getting boosted, well, they are boosting Kyle Anderson. Is that good enough for most of us? Probably not. But it might be now that the schedule's tightening up or getting better. But then he also might not play, dealing with his shoulder problem. And if Kyle Anderson is out, well, then Nickeil Alexander-Walker moves into that spot and becomes an option for us. And Keontae George is getting the biggest boost of all time. We're watching his minutes, watching his usage, watching his shooting. He is developing into I'll say a silly season star, but yeah, how much does that carry over to next year will be very, very intriguing. The Knicks, they are taking on the Sacramento Kings. This is the last game of the day. The Knicks play on Saturday, and then Monday, Thursday, Saturday next week, or the Kings go Saturday, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday the week after, 4 games. Randall will be out. Mitchie Robinson will be out. I don't think you need to hold those guys in 12-team leagues if you're in the playoffs. I don't think they're returning at any point in week 21, maybe 22, but I think 23 is more realistic. Trey Lyles is doubtful for the Kings. Fanapants Kevin Huerter missed the last one. He's questionable for this one. And Sasha Vezenkov is out. Precious Achiuwa is only playing backup center minutes at the moment. Is that enough? It sort of was last game, but I'm not convinced that 24 minutes as the backup is enough for him to be considered a must-roster player with a lighter schedule coming up. So debate that. We'll think about if that, like, he moves from a guy that, yeah, we've got to roster him, to like, yeah, I'm not sure anymore. Like Josh Hart, yes, but you know, Brunson, DiVincenzo, obviously. I guess the question then comes to, but OG Anunoby is dealing with this elbow issue, and he says he's fine, he's going to play, but it didn't look good. So if something happens and there is an actual aggravation of his elbow injury again, which would actually be a perfect time for me to use the word re-aggravation, because he injured it, then he aggravated it on Thursday, when then he could re-aggravate it again in the next one. So if he is out again, then we would get more Precious back. So maybe we want to hold just to see where OG sits, but it's a bit precarious. I put Keon Ellis there for the Kings, so why do I want to watch Keon Ellis? Well, he was awesome the last 2 games. How do they find rotation minutes for him? Could he possibly just start over Kevin Huerter? Is Davion Mitchell out, or does Keon Ellis go back out of the rotation? That is an impact, because as a steel streamer who's available in every single league, Keon Ellis can do that. He could, in 20 minutes, he can get you 2 steals. And that becomes important to make these weird decisions in our fantasy playoffs. DiVincenzo continues to get the boost. I read somewhere he's 4th in the entire NBA in 3-pointers made, which is wild, because when he was signed, and this played out for the first 2 months of the season, there's not enough minutes for him to play. There is too many guards on this team, and he will not get enough to be useful. And then Barrett was gone, and Quickly was gone, and players got injured everywhere, and then Randall got hurt, and OG got hurt, and now he's just doing everything. So everything is just folded down for Dante to put up big numbers. And then Leaky Monk continues to be a little bit more favored by Mike Brown, but we all know that with Brownie, things can flip at any point. Let's go scheduling. The only 2 teams with the Saturday-Sunday back-to-back are the Nets and the Wizards. So, that value there of, or the frustration, I guess, of Tyus Jones being out, but maybe that opens it up for Kispert, Bilal Coulibaly, the Nets guys with that value across the weekend as well. Let's look at some other days. What about the next 4 days? So we're talking Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. 3 teams have 3 games in 4 nights. Nets and Washington, and then it is Minnesota. Again, coming off a terrible schedule into a nice little run of things. But the Gobert-Anderson questionable tags means that value of Anderson is up in the air. Reed's could really spike, and so could Alexander Walker's. There are 5 teams that play 1 game in 4 nights. The Clippers were coming off a really strong schedule, And now it starts to get bad for them. They have 1 in 4 nights along with the Bucks, the Thunder, the Suns, and the Raptors. So if you had a fringy Norman Powell after the game on Friday, you might consider moving on because you can +2 it here. But it's all going to depend. Like, are you going to win your matchup? Because you got to focus on what happens Saturday, Sunday before you make that move. 4 games in 6 nights. There are 4 teams that play 4 games in 6 nights. Brooklyn, Sacramento, Utah, and Washington. There are 6 teams that play 2 games in 6 nights. Really low volume next week. Charlotte, the Clippers, the Lakers. The Lakers again, man. The Thunder, the Spurs, and the Raptors. So when you're considering Dick, when you're considering Jonte Porter, when you're considering Gary Trent, who's returning today, when you're considering, like, I think, honestly, and it's understandable, I think RJ Barrett might be done for the year. The Raptors said there's no timeline for him to return. Rightfully so. Like, he shouldn't come back. There's no need for him to come back at any point soon. So it is, I know he's been putting up numbers, especially if you win a points league. I think this is I think it's a long-term thing. Again, we understand why. So I think you could move on from RJ. And that's just a shocking story. The Thunder only have 2 games in 6 nights, so any of you Lou Dortz, or for some reason if you're holding Gordon Hayward, well, if you're holding Gordon Hayward, you're not in the playoffs. So we don't worry about that. And then the Lakers guys, like, still 2 games in 6. Like, Reeves and Russell still holding on enough value, but nobody else. 7 days. This is important because, again, 2-game weeks stink, but we always look Monday to Sunday. Well, the Hornets have a 2-game week in week 21, but they've also got 2 games in 7 nights, Saturday through Friday. So it's just a really lean period here. And there are 15 teams that have 4 games in 7 nights starting on Saturday. So that's a +2 you can get there, removing that really bad schedule from Charlotte. But again, Charlotte do play Saturday, Tuesday, so there is some value in maybe holding on. It's all going to depend on how your individual team's structured. If you look at the next 8 days, there are 6 teams that play 5 games in 8 nights. Brooklyn, Boston, watch the back-to-backs. Portland, the Jeremy Grants. The Kings, the Jazz, and the Wizards, the Larry Markkanens. Does Tyus Jones return? Some opportunities opening up there. And there are 6 teams that play 3 games in 8 nights. Charlotte and Dallas, they're the 2-game legends from week 21. The Clippers and the Lakers, just, again, shocking from the Lakers. The Bucks and the Thunder. So your Leaky Beasley, Bobby Portis's, maybe your Brook Lopez's. You got to make decisions at this point, because this might be finals week for you. Might not be, but it might be. And then we look at 9 days. That is the end of week 20 through to the end of week 21. So Saturday through to the end of week 21. There are 14 teams that play 5 games over that period, but the Hornets and the Mavericks have 3 in that time frame. That is a big difference, 2 games difference over that time frame. That can be really important, as we have discussed many, many times. Let's talk about streaming for points leagues on Saturday. We'd like to do a little smattering of different roster percentages. So Alperen Thompson's at the top of the list. Just beware that maybe it's not as good as last game. Karis LeVert, Scooter Henderson, Aaron Nesmith, Grant Williams, and then for much deeper leagues, well, Williams and McConnell are those deeper league ones there. For your ESPN points, it is Alperen Thompson. I've got Kyle Anderson there, and I put that there before the questionable tag appeared on him. You've got Aaron Nesmith, Corey Kispert, Grant Williams, and TJ McConnell for ESPN points streaming as well. And then we look at category leagues. So if you're looking for the points category, standard league stream, deeper league stream. So Corey Kispert and Scoot Henderson for points. Obviously, with Scoot, you'd be eschewing field goal percentage. For threes, it's Davis Bertans and Corey Kispert. Big man stats and rebounds, we do go to Nick Richards and Jock Landale. For blocks, it's Nick Richards and Mo Bamba. Even though he's playing like 18 minutes, Bamba can get those blocks in and he's available everywhere. For guard stats and assists, we go to Vasily Micic and Kyle Anderson if he plays for deeper leagues. And then steals, we're going to Alperen Thompson and Matisse Thybulle, 2 pretty obvious ones, I think, there. And lastly, we look at percentages. Who's your field goal percentage booster? It's Nick Richards and Trace Jackson Davis. And for free throws, Scoot Henderson and Davis Bertans. And that brings us to the end of what was a rambling show, so I do apologize for that. But if you don't mind the rambling, or if you just want to support it anyway, give a thumbs up, ring the bell, hit the subscriber button, and leave your comments. Double bang it, of course. And guys, we are done here. Good luck today with everything. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. See ya.